The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the podcast platform, its affiliates, or even the hosts. The information provided is for general informational purposes only and should not be taken as legal, financial, or professional advice. The host and guests are not liable for any errors of omission in the content, nor for any losses, injuries, or damages arising from the use of the information provided. Listeners are encouraged to seek professional advice relevant to their specific circumstances. Now,
hello, everyone, and welcome to Spotlight with That Bee. I'm actually trying to rig my little sign, but there we go. So, welcome everyone to episode 15 of Spotlight with That Bee, and I am your host, That Bee, otherwise known as Betty. And you will see every now and then the little sign will pop up as you're watching this, where it will remind you that I am Betty. I'm just clarifying that because at times people like to give me names that start with a B, and no, it's Betty. so, so let's get into today's spotlight. It's gonna be showing flowers to a few people that the term I use is that I rock with. And I'm excited to tell y'all about a doo-wop that I was able to attend this past Saturday. The host was none other than Mr. Steal Your Girl himself, Trey Songz. I wanted to see out of all the nicknames what I wanted to call him, but yeah, no, that's the one I wanna use. What an amazing event. Once again, this particular doo-wop was in Miami. It was in Wynwood, like the other doo-wops have been when they're in Miami. I think most of them are in Wynwood. And it was at a new venue, and this venue is called Luna Sol. So I saw Mike Gardner at the event and Fly Guy. Shout out to both. I told them I had a phenomenal time. I also told them that I really liked the new venue. I found parking easy. I was able to find the city parking. It was close. It was in walking distance. It was very economical as far as the parking. Shout out to the doo-wop one more time for having the option for the ladies. If you get there by 8, you can get in free. And I completely took advantage of that. Again, I really liked the venue. The music was on point. I was very pleased with the music and the curating. And that is what I mean by the music. All the DJs I saw, obviously Fly Guy and the other DJs that were there that night, I believe they did really well with keeping the crowd dancing, singing, and in just good spirits. So not that that isn't the case at other doo-wops, but this particular one was special. There are some that normally stand out. I have been asked recently, what are my favorite doo-wops? Who were the hosts? What made them my favorite events? And I have no shame in my game to say, of course, the doo-wops that have Tank, because Tank is one of my favorite artists. The ones that had Keisha Cole, because she is one of my favorite artists. Definitely the one in Atlanta, which, by the way, Keisha Cole and Tank were also there, and that was the one that was DJ'd by Jermaine Dupri. Shout out to JD. That particular doo-wop, Brian Michael Cox was there. Monica was there. As I mentioned, Tank was there. Cosign was there. So many people were there that night. Jazzy Fizz, I almost said Jazzy Fizzle. Jazzy Faye was there. I'm missing people, but it felt like a lot of people, I have mentioned this before, came to represent and to support JD, and that's part of what made it such a good event. So definitely the one in Atlanta, where JD was the DJ for the night. That was phenomenal. That's on the top of my list. Um, and I'm gonna say for sure this particular doo-wop. It had Trey Songz, who is another one of my favorite singers. I've seen him live. I felt it was brief, but when I did attend CQ Hollywood Bowl, which I believe was one of the first, if not the first, CQ event after everything opened up during the pandemic. And I remember seeing him, and he did impress me then, but I did feel like if it was a really short performance in my eyes. So to see that not only was he an amazing host, he was working the crowd, he was working the ladies, he had the men, the women singing. He was just very his energy was everything. I don't know how else to explain it, but his energy was everything with the crowd, with everybody around him. You know, he was in VIP, but he wasn't in VIP because even though he was in VIP, he was making sure he was addressing everybody that was there to support him. So I was thrilled to see that he performed. He sang a lot of his catalog, and that's what I was hoping for when I found out that he was going to be the host. I kept saying it on my lives, like, man, I hope he sings. I hope he sings, and he did. And oh my God! And I go like this because I'm about to hit you with the wow. I am so glad I attended. I can't wait for him to do another doo-wop so I can go again because it was a lot of the times when he was singing, I noticed that they would turn up the mic because he kept on asking them, turn up the mic. That is rare. A lot of artists aren't like, turn up the mic. So I should have known because the moment he was like, turn up the mic some more, man, every time he was belting out lyrics, the vocals were on point. The mic was definitely on and at a really good level. Again, men were singing, women were singing, we were all dancing. I was highly entertained. Now, the doo-wops, they'll do that. It's something where you feel like you're in your own world with the doo-wop community, which we're all, from what I can see, we're all a vibe. There was a lot of people at this venue. It was smaller than some of the other venues that they have selected, but I'm going to be honest, I enjoyed it more, even though it was a little bit, it was super crowded. From the videos that I was able to grab, you will see that it is pretty crowded, but um, it wasn't too hot. I didn't feel overwhelmed with heat with so many people there and sweating and whatnot, even though, the more people that kept on arriving, the more that changed. But that was almost by the time that I left, that it got where the heat was affecting me. And I mention that because if in Miami, it is hot no matter where you go. And that is something that I do think about often. Um, Now, the one thing that I didn't like was that the Wi-Fi in the venue, it was not cooperating. So initially I had Wi-Fi. I was able to get some content. Again, you'll be able to see Trey Songz singing. I wish I could have gotten more, But again, I was hindered by the fact that the Wi-Fi was not cooperating and it wasn't allowing me to get the content, and it kept kind of like kicking me out of my phone. So I did the best I could for y'all, but I think I did really, really good. And I had a lot to work with because once again, he was phenomenal. Um, I really have no complaints besides the thing with the Wi-Fi, and I know that that's nothing that has anything to do with neither headliner or the DJs, Fly Guy, Trey Songz, none of that. Now I know that there was people in attendance because again, there was a lot of people there. I know Uncle Luke was there. I know Rico Love was there, which I had to ask somebody today. I know I should know who this is, but who's Rico Love again? And they told me that he's actually one of the best. They told me that he's actually one of the best with his pen game right now. So, and that I do know a lot of the songs. I probably just never realized that he's the one that wrote them. Live and learn. So again, everybody in his entourage, everyone in attendance, we all had an amazing time. You could tell by the crowd. Of course, like they normally do when the doo-wop is a doo-wopping and a popping, they extended it over the time that we were supposed to be at the venue. I had to leave by a certain time. I had another event that I wanted to make sure that I showed up for and at least popped up, did a quick check-in, and supported. And because of that, that is why I ended up leaving when I did. But I know when I left, Trey Songz was still singing. He was buying shots for ladies. He was people that had birthdays, and he was finding out, oh, it's your birthday, so he was buying shots. He bought a bottle for one of another one of the group of ladies that were there that were celebrating a birthday. I mean, talk about interacting with your supporters. Charisma for days. Again, there is nothing negative that I do have to say about this particular doo-wop. It left me smiling where I am still smiling and talking about it and posting content and whatnot. So the clips that I do have. So I know I posted a clip on my page and I mentioned in the comments, and I wanted to make sure I said it here. As far as a rating, if you got from a 1 to 10, it's a 10. It was definitely a 10. 10 out of 10 is what I put in my comments, in my caption, because I really do feel this was a phenomenal doo-wop. Yeah. So again, music was phenomenal. One of the best hosts I've seen at one of these doo-wops by far, so far, Trey Songz. I'm happy that it was an amazing experience. I hadn't gone out in a minute. I needed to get out and to just socialize with people. While I was there, I did run into a coworker and his friends. I was able to socialize with them. And to be honest with you, for me, it was a perfect night. Once I left the doo-wop, in the area is Dante's Hi-Fi. And I had heard, a little birdie told me, that particular night, Diamond D was going to be DJing at Dante's, and also Rich Medina was in attendance. So, of course, I had to pull up on everyone. I had no idea, but when I got there, a lot of my, as I call them, my Miami gang was there. I got to say what up to everybody. I was there, I want to say, about an hour. But again, I was able to say hi to my friends. I was able to catch Diamond D as he was spinning. He's a phenomenal DJ, a phenomenal curator. I've seen him many times when he comes to Dante's, and I do like to go back and support because I think he is Again, phenomenal DJ, phenomenal curator. I like to at least catch a little bit. I don't know why my eye is tearing, but so that particular night, Betty was out a little late. Not too late, but late for me. I think by the time I got home, it was like about 1:30. And everyone knows I get home, and then what I want to do is I want to take a shower, or, I want to get ready for bed, and I got to wind down. But I'm going to be honest, y'all, I had such an amazing time that it was really hard for me to wind down and fall asleep. But I'm glad I did it. So, on to other things that I want to make sure that I touch on in this week's episode. So I had really positive feedback when I did my last two episodes where I was mentioning new music and not just the events that I do. So I got lucky again, and we have some more new music. I selected two songs that I want to make sure that I mention because I want to talk about a couple other things and show some love and some support for one of my favorites podcasts or shows on YouTube out right now, which is This Week in R&B. And I'm going to talk about what they're doing as well. So as far as the new music, I got lucky, so lucky, because It Depends, the remix with Usher came out, I think it was like about 5 days ago. Man, yes. Perfect. The song is like that doo-wop. Perfect. I loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it, love it. Love it. Um, it is definitely on a loop and in a playlist because I love the song. I really do I think all of us are waiting for this, but I really do think I will be so happy if I can speak this into existence. But I really believe that Usher and Chris Brown, what we're all waiting on, guys, we're all waiting for you guys to collab and do an entire album together. That would be wow. That's gonna move mountains. Kind of like y'all voices do. That's gonna move mountains. And I've seen people online, the chats are lit and they're all requesting that y'all actually do a tour together. Not just an album, but then also do a tour. So I'm in agreement with that. I would love that. I would definitely love that. So again, new music alert. It Depends, the remix. Banger. Banger. Like it's gonna make me stutter. Banger. Loved it, loved it. Let me move on because I could talk about it for days. So, talking about Chris Brown, Breezy once again proves that he is one of the legends that has definitely come out of R&B and the music industry after Michael Jackson, after Usher. So, the way he proved it this time is he broke a world record. I'm not surprised because everyone I know has nothing but positive things to say about Breezy Bowl. The majority of the people, like if you didn't go to Breezy Bowl, you ain't hot. Because I think everybody went to Breezy Bowl. Young, old, it doesn't matter what ethnicity, what country you were from. Everybody had some Breezy Bowl. And one of the things that everyone I know discussed about Breezy Bowl that they were just flabbergasted about was the set list that Chris Brown did, and how he was singing for hours, not just dancing for hours, but singing for hours. And it seemed like it was such a huge part of his catalog that I I think it might have been like 50 songs um per show, if I read that correctly somewhere. But breaking a world record, I'm not surprised. So it was for songs that he performed at a particular show. Um, Congratulations, Chris. You deserve all the accolades. When people put in the work ethic, or when they put in the work and they show their work ethic, it definitely needs to be rewarded, and it definitely needs to be something where people are acknowledging that you are going above and beyond. Just because you're an artist, it shouldn't be harder for that to be the case. If he worked in corporate and he was the employee that was, doing the most, he would get all the accolades and bonuses and whatnot. So I'm glad that it's something where now he's breaking world records. What's next for Breezy, man? I can't wait to see. So, congratulations once again. I'm super happy about that. I'm not surprised, but I am extremely happy about it. So, another song was dropped, and this time it is another Ninth Wonder collab. One of the reasons why I love this song, it's called Dre and Sydney, and it is because once again, Ninth Wonder, let me rephrase that. Ninth Wonder has done it again. He now has this song. I love everything about the song, and one of the things that I really, really, really enjoy about it is that one of my favorite R&B songs is "Distant Lover" from Marvin Gaye. He is the sample for the song is "Distant Lover," and I love it. Not just because I love the song, but because the way he puts everything together, and the way he has the artists and their verses and the pen game and the way it goes with the sample. But again, it's Ninth Wonder, and I'm not surprised. He also dropped another song, by the way, like within either today or yesterday, and it seems like every time I turn around, Ninth is dropping something. Collab! Another Ninth collab! I love it. Keep them coming, please. I love it. So if you want to check any of these new songs out, please go on to these artists or these producers' IG pages, or you can actually go on YouTube. But where I'm locating a lot of this content is on my IG page. For those that do not follow me yet on IG or on my YouTube page, please feel free to do so. The more followers I get on my YouTube page, the more I am able to actually get towards the possibility of having the access to do lives on YouTube, not just on IG like I do. But again, for more content, check both my pages. Now, I did want to mention this. One of my events that are soon come, and that will be at the end of November, is going to be, and I definitely will be doing a spotlight, is going to be an event I am going to in Miami Beach here. And again, it's the end of November, and that is going to be to go see Jagged Edge. I believe Eric Bellinger is opening, and I believe there's another opening act. But if not, I'm okay with Eric Bellinger and Jagged Edge. No complaints from that B. Now, I wanted to make sure I mentioned that. So that's coming in the near future because I did mention it on my IG Live, and people were asking, "Is it soon?" And no, it's the end of November. So we got a little bit of ways to go. But I wanted to make sure that I clarified that on here. But that will be coming. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is I'm going to brag a little bit about some of my favorite peoples. And then clarify a couple of things that I feel need to be clarified. And I do not mind doing it because I am definitely team This Week and R&B. So most recently in This Week in R&B, um, there was some changes. And that is actually what I wanted to make sure that I discussed. One of the changes was that Jay Valentine is no longer part of he's no longer hosting, he's no longer part of This Week in R&B, the show. So in his place, who we have left is now his brother Bobby Newt. Shout out to Bobby. um, Also an amazing artist, um, insane pen. um, Happens to be Jay's older brother. And it is something where Jay decided to just stick with doing the R&B Money podcast, and I guess whatever else he is looking to do or to venture into. I respect his decision. I'm still going to always be a huge fan of Jay. We, the community, are very sorry to see him go, and that he's not going to be part of all the shenanigans from This Week in R&B. Hopefully he'll pop up every now and then and be a guest. But again, that's not going to stop me from being a fan of his or supporting him in whatever it is that he's going to be doing. And of course, when the R&B Money podcast comes back, y'all know I'm going to be supporting it just as hard as I do everything else, if not more. But that was his decision. And again, I totally respect that. So, of course, I'm going to continue to support his brother Bobby and co-sign the Connect, um, who are the two hosts that are now in charge of This Week in R&B. They've done already a few episodes where it's just the two gentlemen and they're having guests come up and also join the conversation. They've had a couple females, and I'm not sure if it was two male guests already or just one. Either way, a lot of us in the community still enjoyed it. We still are going to come back and support, and we're still going to make a huge deal about everything that the guys are doing. They're still funny. They're still highly entertaining, and we're still getting super lucky to be able to witness the talent that both Cosign and Bobby have. Bobby has. Bobby's voice is phenomenal. I'm not surprised again. He's a new. Jay's voice, phenomenal. Makes all the sense in the world that his older brother has also an amazing voice. So if you want to know what I'm talking about, make sure that you catch one of those episodes. There's already a few saved. And this is the other thing I wanted to make sure that I mentioned. So with all these changes, the newest change is that before, when you would watch the episode, what you had to do or look for the content, what you had to do is go to the R&B Money podcast page, and you would just look for the content that was titled This Week in R&B. So most recently, within this past week, a change was made where now the gentlemen have their own channel slash page on YouTube. So they're going to start slowly but surely migrating over to where eventually you're going to be watching the show on that This Week in R&B page on YouTube. So what the community and the guys are asking is to please go follow them on that This Week and R&B page slash channel on YouTube. Let's get their subscriptions up. That way there, they can continue to be their best on that particular channel and, you know, have it grow. So one of the other things that the gentlemen are doing is not just the show, but they're also doing things live. And they did it this past Sunday, which they live streamed the event, and that is something called Sunday Dinner. And Bobby has been doing a show on Wednesdays with his community, and that's Bobby underscore outside in case you want to check it out on IG. That's his handle. And the show on Wednesdays is called Bobby's Jam for Me. And what he's doing is he's requesting for artists, up and coming artists, to come in to his live. He'll basically plug you and give you the opportunity and share his platform to where you can come up on his live, like FaceTiming, and show him what you got as far as talent. If you're a singer, if you're a producer, if it's something where you want to play your music, it has to be short because we'll get flagged on IG and whatnot because of rights. But you could definitely play demos. You could definitely do a cappella. A lot of us that are in these lives, we are in the chat. Shout out to his community. He calls them the Outsiders. Shout out to the Outsiders. We want to make it where it's a safe space for artists to come in, share their talent, where we could give them our feedback. And Bobby gives phenomenal advice. And he'll even make sure that they know, look, I've been in the business from when I was young, and it's been about 40 years. And what he wants to do is he wants to help artists just flourish and do better. And if he can put you on to where he can help you get your music out there or connect you with whom you need to connect to succeed, that's what he's trying to do. So I'm promoting that heavy on my page. It's a pleasure for me to do so. Anything that the guys are doing and anything that the R&B guys are doing, I love to support because I just think they are definitely a good bunch of guys that are really trying to do right by people. So, of course, I'm going to support something like that. And I support them not just in their endeavors, but also in anything that they're going to do where they're putting out music or shows or events. If I can support, I'm definitely going to try it. This is why I'm also making sure I mention it on here. It is also, once again, one of my favorite ways of passing the time and staying entertained. So I don't mind sharing this, not one bit. So again, on this Sunday, there is a flyer. You'll be able to see the flyer. I don't know where RG is going to put the flyer, but wherever he puts the flyer, he's going to put it up for me. This Sunday, they're doing it again. Now, if you are in California, these events, the Sunday dinners, they're happening in Hollywood, California. So if you're in the area, the flyers that you're going to see, they will have the address and the time and the lineup of the artists that they're inviting to come perform live, and pretty much the same thing that Bobby is doing on his IG. I don't know if I mentioned the time, but it's at 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesdays on his IG Live. And he's pretty much doing that, but actually live as an event at these Sunday dinners. He's collabing with some people, and they're making sure that they get the word out as far as getting to know these artists and what their talent is. Again, I was in the live when they live streamed it this past Sunday, and Bobby performed, blew everybody's mind. What stage presence does this man have? My God. I've never seen Jay Valentine perform live, but if it's anything like what I saw Bobby do, oh my Lord. I would have loved to have seen the Neutrons when I was younger. It's a shame that I've never had that opportunity, but it's also a shame that I've never seen Jay perform live. Um, I don't even think, besides his actual lives, I don't even think I've seen him perform while somebody's been doing it live. I think I got a quick glimpse one time when somebody in CQ at one of the events that he attended and performed at, they did like, I think he did like one song, and that's what I caught. So I would love to see more. And once again, if it's anything like what I saw Bobby do, we need to put the word out, and we need to get these guys out there sharing all this talent because it's phenomenal. And I kid you not. And I'm not exaggerating or anything of the sort. And this is why I'm also making sure I put the word out once again. So Sunday, this coming Sunday, it's going to happen again. Where are you going to see it? This last Sunday, Cosign went live and Bobby went live. So also shout out to Cosign once again. He was playing the saxophone and he was, being Cosign. We heard Ratchet Sheila or, I forgot what Sheila's new name is, but he had his, is it called an 808? I'm not even sure anymore. But he had that device thing with the buttons where, he was being co-signed. So they're doing it again this coming weekend. I will be also in the chat. So I welcome all my followers and my supporters to check it out. If you like live music and if you like live entertainment, you'll definitely love this. So I definitely recommend it. Let's see. Do I have anything else? I think that might be it for me tonight. I wanted to make sure I kept it short, but I definitely wanted to make sure that I mentioned all that I did because I think all these people that I mentioned, not only are they phenomenal artists, but they're all trying to make sure that they pay it forward. They're not trying to gatekeep. If you see something in everything that I mentioned, there's a lot of collaboration going on. And we're in a world right now where there's no reason why you should hold others back and not try and uplift them. And if you can help them and if you can support them, then that is definitely what we should be doing. And the one thing that I notice is the common denominator, again, in the list of people that I've mentioned today, is that they collab like no other. Talk about making sure that you do it for the culture. With that, I leave everyone. Check out the songs that I mentioned. Make sure that if you want to be part of the This Week in R&B community, we welcome you with open arms when you're coming into the community and being in the chat with everyone. But we only ask, and I know I've spoken to Bobby about this, and I know he's on board with this, and he has requested the same, especially in his lives. What the community and the artists are asking is that, at the very least, make sure you keep it respectful and make it where it's a safe space for people to be able to express themselves, but not do it in a way where you're putting down others or you're being hurtful. So as long as we all respect each other and we keep it positive, you're always going to be welcomed in any of their communities. I'm talking about Team Breezy, The Outsiders, which is, again, Bobby Newt's community, the This Week in R&B community, also the R&B Money Podcast community, the Doo-Wop community. I said Team Breezy, right? And I also am part of Ninth Wonders community, which is the Fast Ass Auntie Lounge. I guess I'm a fast auntie. And I know that's the case for when he's dealing with his community as well. So I'm going to end it with this. More than anything, with everything going on in this world today, in most recent times, it is more important to make sure that I say this. Spread love. Be kind to others. If you can help someone, do that. Support doesn't cost you anything. So we need to start doing more for others and making sure that we're choosing integrity. So with that, I leave everyone. Have an amazing week or 2 weeks until I see y'all again for the next spotlight with that B. Check out everybody that I mentioned. You'll thank me later. If you also can, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe to the United Front Network, which is the network that I am part of. Go on their page. Also support all my fellow network mates. They're all just as phenomenal as I am, and they have amazing content. Follow and subscribe to the new page of This Week in R&B on YouTube. And also follow Cosign. Follow Bobby_outside. And if the doo-wop comes to your town, make sure you attend. Because I already know y'all are gonna go see the Breezy at Breezy Bowl or Usher if he's doing anything. Also, I know Ninth Wonder has been doing events lately too. If he comes to Miami, I'm attending that too. So if he goes to any of your cities, I strongly recommend that as well. I have seen him here at Dante's, and just like everybody on this list. I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.